Hi there, and welcome back to the Beyond Aromatics podcast. It's been a few weeks since we have discussed the problems placed on people's jobs, families, and lives around the world. We decided to catch back up with a couple of our directors to discuss further changes to their personal lives and businesses they have had to make for a world where COVID-19 doesn't seem to be leaving anytime soon. But while they have had to make accommodations, they also express hope and optimism for a world which we will better come to understand and appreciate aromatherapy and holistic medicine for its place in creating everyday health and healing. Our guests today are Annette Davis and Sharon Falcetto. We hope you enjoy this episode. Up first today, we hear from our current NAHA president, Annette Davis. Annette is a certified clinical nutritionist and aromatherapist with 30 years of aromatherapy experience. She began her aromatherapy career as a secretary of the First American Aromatherapy Association, founded in 1987. Annette has studied under Dr. Jean-Claude Lapraz since 1989. Dr. Lapraz is a practicing French medical doctor, world-renowned pioneer in the field of clinical phytoaromatherapy, and the co-innovator of endobiogeny. Annette teaches and practices phytoaromatherapy and endobiogeny at the Endobiogenic Integrative Medical Center, located in Pocatello, Idaho. This innovative medical concept, based on a refined view of the neuroendocrine system, integrates classical medicine with herbs and supplements, essential oils, dietary and lifestyle modifications to create a truly holistic treatment approach to illness of the body and mind. Annette is also a formulator and custom relations manager for Time Laboratories, a long-time, well-respected natural products manufacturer founded by her grandmother, Anna Marie Bueller, in 1973. She has supported and served NAHA for many years as regional director for Idaho, director coordinator, board member, and currently as NAHA's president. To learn more about Annette and the work she does, visit eimcenter.com or timelabs.com, or you can find out more on our NAHA Board of Directors page.
Today I'd like to welcome Annette Davis, who is the president of NAHA. We've been interviewing other directors over the past few months about the COVID-19 crisis. So we thought now would be a good opportunity to check in with Annette and see how things are now that we're a few months down the line, and see how Annette is doing. So first of all, welcome Annette for joining me today.
Thank you, Sharon.
I would just like to kind of recap on what you actually do with your business and with NAHA for listeners that are not familiar with you.
Okay, sure. Well, my grandmother, Anne Marie Bueller, started a natural products manufacturing company in 1973. And then I started working with her in the late 80s. And I'm now the president of that company. And there we manufacture aromatherapy products, dietary supplements. We import essential oils. So we're a manufacturer of all types of natural products. I've also been training in clinical phytoaromatherapy with French medical doctor Jean-Claude Lapraz since 1989. And we sponsored an integrative medical center in cooperation with Idaho State University in the late, or rather the early 2000s as well. And so I've been doing that for a number of years and work every day with aromatherapy essential oils and really enjoy my job. And I'm currently the president of NAHA, as you mentioned. I've been involved with NAHA in various capacities for many years as well.
So you have quite a lot going on there, and quite a good background in aromatherapy. So how have things changed for you? Let's tackle your business, personal business first. How have things changed for your companies since this started? What changes have you seen?
Well, there have been a lot of changes. We did have two locations, one in California and one in Idaho. California closed down early on, as you're probably aware, and we had to close our location there. Unfortunately, after a few months of no one being able to work there, and we transferred all of the manufacturing we were doing in California up to our Idaho location. Fortunately, in Idaho, we were considered an essential manufacturer, so we were able to stay open. But it's been a long road, kind of stressful. I
Mhm.
was really sad having to let employees go that have been with us for a lot of years, but fortunately we were able to stay in business and get everything transferred to the one location and continue on.
Yeah, so it's like a lot of people are having to kind of pivot and trying to, you know,
Yeah,
kind of make the best of it and make hard decisions. But it sounds like
yeah,
you're still open locally, which is good.
yes,
So what kind of
yes.
um well, I'm trying to think of the word protocols that you have in place now. How has business changed, for example, if someone wants to come in and buy essential oil blend from you?
Yeah, a really good question. We've instigated, of course, COVID prevention protocols, increased sanitization like everyone's doing. If somebody comes in, we take their temperature, we require them to wear a mask. That was really difficult for a while when masks were in shortage. And so for a while, we just went to curbside pickup where people would either order online or call in their order and then pick it up without coming in. We also temporarily had to close down the clinic. But now that we have masks that we've been able to get and good thermometers that we're able to take temperatures from a distance, we are once again allowing people other than employees to come into our location.
Hmm.
But we have had to make a lot of changes, and those measures sometimes change on a daily basis depending on what's going on with the virus in our area.
Yeah. So in some areas, I know some people have been resistant to changes. Are you experiencing anything
Yeah.
with that? And how do you handle that if they do?
Yeah, I mean, there's still people who don't want to wear a mask, of course.
Hmm.
And if they don't want to wear a mask, then we just do curbside pickup for them.
Okay.
Patients, if they have symptoms, we used to allow people, obviously, to come in for care if they were sick. But
Hmm.
now we're having to do wellness visits, really. If someone is sick or exhibiting respiratory symptoms, then we have to redirect them to the urgent care or the hospital rather than trying to take care of them at our location, because we
Yeah.
really want to keep our employees safe and our customers safe. And so a lot of clinics are in that same position where they're not able to take care of people who are actually sick.
Yeah. So obviously, there's probably some essential oil blends that are more popular than others. Have you noticed like an increase in particular ones being used now than before COVID-19?
Oh, absolutely. Any of the blends that have good immune supporting properties or antimicrobial properties, that usage has really gone up. We sell to the public, but we also do private label for
Hmm.
other companies, and especially our private label customers, the respiratory type blends that have eucalyptus and tea tree and those sort of oils, their use has gone up a lot. And then the immunomodulating blends have really gone up as people, I mean, obviously there's nothing right now that has been proven effective
Yeah.
against COVID, but just having people wanting to support their immune systems in general, it would be the same in a normal cold and flu season. And so that type of blend or essential oil use has really, really gone up dramatically.
So with your clinic as well, have you noticed kind of obviously the interest has gone up in the essential oil blends like we said, but I've
Mhm.
kind of noticed overall and this might kind of lead into some of the NAHA work as well, like there's been an increase in interest in aromatherapy across the board. Do you think people are looking to aromatherapy now
Oh,
more?
absolutely. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes. We have new customers and patients calling in every day. Have become much more concerned about their health in general. Because really, anytime there's a pandemic like this, and COVID is no exception, the people that get the sickest are those who have an underlying condition. It's
Hmm.
not that the virus itself is so dangerous, but it is dangerous to people who have underlying conditions. And so you have people with diabetes, for example, who are suddenly very interested in taking a wellness approach to overcoming diabetes, which is one of the most prominent preventable, treatable diseases.
Hmm.
and they really now, when they were happy before just to take their insulin if or whatever it is medication they were taking, are much more interested in a wellness approach to whatever their problem is.
Yeah, as somebody with underlying conditions, for autoimmune disorders, I'm aware of trying to bolster my immune system as well, and I
Hmm.
can highly recommend Annette's company because I got some stuff from you early on there, to help with extra vitamins and minerals and things like that as well, the essential oils and herbs that I'm familiar
Oh,
with.
thank you, Sharon.
But yeah, well, the other thing that kind of triggered a thought for me is that there's a lot more interest in it, but people need to be aware of which companies to trust, and which who to buy from. For
True.
pure essential oils for taking care of themselves like that. Do you have any kind of pointers to help people with that?
Yeah, when looking for essential oils, of course, there are a lot of adulterated essential oils on the market. Also, the oils which have been specifically produced for the fragrance industry are not the same as the essential oils that we want to use for therapeutic use. So it's really important that you're able to have a discussion with the company that you're going to buy from, talk about their quality procedures. Are they guaranteeing that it's a whole natural oil? Can they give you a GC, a certificate of analysis, something that makes you feel comfortable that the essential oil is a real, genuine oil? And how long has the company been in business? Now that aromatherapy is getting to be so popular, there are a lot of pop-up companies that are very new, and they really don't have staff on hand that would know the difference between a fragrance oil versus a real essential oil. So I think using someone who has a lot of experience, a company with a lot of experience, is going to be a good guideline as well.
Yeah, and yeah, as well, maybe some people have aromatherapists, certified aromatherapists in
Yes,
their area. They can get in touch with those kind of people as well.
yeah.
Make sure that,
And a
again,
company that has an aromatherapist on
yeah,
staff who knows what they're doing and how to recognize what a genuine oil is and not is really important.
yeah, yeah, because like anything, when there's a crisis, there's people out there that will take advantage of the situation,
Mhm.
unfortunately. So we
Mhm.
need to check all that out. Um, so this is more of a personal question. You manage so much. I'm intrigued how you manage your business and NAHA and your family life as well. That's important at this
Yeah.
time. Any
Well,
tips?
having excellent employees really helps. NAHA has a fabulous
Yeah.
group of employees, as well as a phenomenal board that we're all very supportive of each other and have each other's back when one of us has a crisis or something to deal with. The
Hmm.
rest of us come together and have each other's back and make sure that we get everything done that needs to be done. During COVID specifically, the NAHA employees were set up by our IT department so that they could work from home and
Hmm.
still handle everything that needed to be handled with NAHA. So that's really good. For our business, again, long term, really valuable, good employees that care about the company is really important. A lot of my family members are involved with our company. And so that helps to have good people to be able to rely on and those that were willing to work when the government started offering these incentives for people to stay home. That was really difficult for a lot of companies because the employees didn't want to work anymore. They just wanted to
Hmm.
stay home and collect unemployment and the incentives
Yeah.
that were being given out. And all of our employees chose to stay working, which was really, really good and beneficial for the company. You can't get the work done if the employees aren't there.
Yeah.
So that and just having to be very organized, keeping a calendar, a to-do list, and working with my team to make sure that everything gets done. It's not always that easy. It
No.
doesn't always run smooth during the day, but we just band together and get done what needs to get done.
Yeah, I can certainly say, having the support then and a good team is of great value to get things done. And NAHA as an
Yeah.
organization, I certainly feel that, which is great to support people in the
And
aromatherapy
Eric
community.
and I Eric and I have always had our children involved with the business as well.
Mhm.
So they understand what it takes to run a business. They feel invested in it. And so
Yeah,
they don't get as resentful about the amount of time that we need to spend because they are involved. And I think that's really important too, especially when you have children who you have to leave more than you would like to, is
yeah.
to have them involved with the family business. Not only is it good for the long term viability of the business, but it helps them to understand what it is mom and dad are doing when they have to be away and feel like they want to be a part of it as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. I imagine with a lot of children and kids at home now, we're doing school from home and parents from home.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably some families getting some business learning along the way, as
Yeah,
everybody's under
yes.
the same roof. Um, do you have a recommendation for any essential one of your favorite essential oil blends that might help people manage this crisis, like keep us calm and well, that we might be able to turn to during times that we need it.
Well, yeah, and keeping calm, of course, you can't beat lavender for that.
Hmm.
Any of the calming blends that contain lavender are excellent. As far as helping your immune system and antimicrobial blends, one of my personal favorites is a blend called Breathe Easy, and it helps you stay calm too. It has eucalyptus and lemon and tea tree and bergamot, and so the combination of those is kind of an all around chill out, help your immune system have as much antimicrobial activity as possible. So any of those type of blends that are multi-function, multi-purpose, I think are a good idea. And then you don't have to take your whole essential oil toolbox with you wherever
Yeah,
you go, but rather get a few favorite blends and take them with you in your purse so that you have them everywhere you go.
yeah. So, would you recommend like something for like a roll-on or an inhalation for that?
I think both. Roll-ons are
Right.
really handy because the blend is pre-diluted.
Yeah.
But then having the pure essential oil blend, you can just inhale right out of the bottle if you need to. If you're
Yeah.
suddenly in a crowd of people and feeling uncomfortable, or a few drops on a tissue, if you can't have your diffuser nearby. So I think taking along a roll on and a bottle of pure essential oil is a great thing to do.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are going to be feeling that going back out into the community, just having like maybe
Yeah.
having anxiety attacks. I know myself, I had a bit of a panic attack just thinking about going into the store and all that I was going
Yeah.
to encounter. So yeah, I think we're going to
Right.
be needing more and more of those blends. I do like the idea of putting it on a tissue. That was one of my original ways of being taught
Yeah. Yeah.
aromatherapy, more than the inhalers that we're kind of used to now. And roll-ons
Mhm.
are
Mhm.
just beautiful anyway.
Yeah.
What is is there a particular base that you use for that, or just
For the
what comes?
roll-ons, we really like jojoba
Yeah.
oil. It's very stable, and you're not going to have it oxidizing while you're carrying it around in your purse for a long
Hmm.
time. Or if you accidentally leave it in the car, which isn't ideal, you don't want
Yeah.
your blends to heat up. But if you accidentally leave it in your car for a few hours, at least you know the jojoba base isn't going to go rancid, and you can still confidently use that
Yeah.
blend.
Yeah. That's the one I kind of like to use as well. And
Another thing
I
that's
I
really
think
been a mainstay for me is a hand sanitizer that we made, which is
yeah.
80% alcohol, which is what the CDC is recommending right now, which has been shown to be effective against the COVID virus. And then it has essential oils in it as well. One big misunderstanding is you can't rely just on essential oils to kill
Yeah.
the COVID virus on your hands or surfaces. We don't have enough research yet to say that that's going to be effective. So combining alcohol, which we do know is effective, and using the CDC recommendations, FDA recommendations, and then you can just add some essential oil to that, makes for an ideal situation so that you know that you're covered.
Yeah, and if people can't get alcohol, can they buy this hand sanitizer direct from you? Because I know buying
Yeah.
alcohol
Oh,
is
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
really hard to, source at the moment, for because
Alcohol is
everybody wants
very
it.
hard to source.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
luckily, we had several drums in stock already of alcohol when this hit. And
yeah.
so we were able to make a lot of hand sanitizer, which was really nice because it's very hard to get right now.
It is, and those that you can find, I find is kind of, people are price gouging, unfortunately. I guess
Yeah,
it's the law of supply and demand to some effect, but also people trying to take
right.
advantage of the situation.
True. I sure you have both because the alcohol is up in price right now.
Hmm.
Packaging is very hard to get. That's one of the challenges that we've run
Yeah,
into is a lot of our packaging now comes from China, and
right.
there were factories closed down for months at a time, and so we're still having difficulty getting certain bottles and sprayers and closures and that sort of thing. And
Hmm.
so some of it, yes, I absolutely agree, is price gouging, and some of it is just that things cost more right now. And
Yeah,
so we're going to be seeing increased prices on some things.
yeah, and yeah, that's what we've got to understand. I know the spray bottles are really hard to get. I've been trying to
Mhm.
get some
Mhm.
for my student kits, and yeah, it's these things we took for granted before, and we didn't know how much
Absolutely.
value they are now. You just so just changed a lot. So just to kind of close it out, personally, how do you think you're managing, and kind of what's the way forward from here? I mean, I know nobody has the answer, but are we just kind? Do you
Mhm.
think
Mhm.
we can just keep um, moving on like we are until we have, I mean, I don't know what the situation is up where you are, but here in Arizona, we're apparently the number one hotspot in the world, which is not a title that we want to hold. I mean, how do we get
Yeah.
back from this?
Well,
I'm just,
I've really been actively following the research that has been coming out, and the biggest thing that's really helping to bring rates down is social distancing combined with hand washing, combined with wearing masks. And there's so much controversy over masks if you should
yeah,
wear them or not.
yeah.
But the studies that I have seen coming out is that any type of barrier is going to be helpful because it will catch droplet-borne virus. And but that's only one thing. We got to socially distance. We have to
Mhm.
frequently wash hands, use hand sanitizer when you can't wash with soap and water, use a mask. It doesn't have to be an N95 mask. Having an N95 mask on all day is rather suffocating. And there are people who can't stand having that type of claustrophobic feeling anyway. But
Yeah.
any type of mask or barrier is going to be helpful, and just encouraging those around us to go that way. I think in some ways our world will now have changed forever. And the fact that people won't
Mhm.
feel comfortable going into a crowd and being jammed in somewhere in contact with a lot of strangers. And that's not going to go away anytime soon.
No, that's the sad part about it. When we think of all the events and things that involve that, and particularly more vulnerable people like older people, people with underlying
Yes,
conditions. It's certainly a concern of mine, but I don't
absolutely.
want to miss out on everything for the rest of my life. It is a
Right,
bit of a
right.
conundrum. Um, but I guess we'll just have to hope we get this under control. And I think we're in one of the best professions to help
Yes,
towards that, with aromatherapy.
absolutely.
So we get that out where we can. So I'd like to thank you very much for your time today,
You bet.
Annette. I know you're very busy, and I appreciate the time you've taken to talk to me. And stay safe and good luck with everything.
Thank you, Sharon. You too.
Okay, thank you.
Up next, we hear from the main interviewer herself, Sharon Falcetto. Sharon is a UK certified aromatherapist and founder of Sedona Aromatherapy LLC since 2007. She's the sole creative force behind the founding of Sedona Aromatics, the garden school, which she created in 2018. Sharon has over a decade's worth of direct experience in the aromatherapy field, plus over another decade's worth of experience working within the UK government healthcare system before moving to the United States. She has a bachelor's. Sharon is the author of many books, including The Authentic Aromatherapy. Sharon is an author of many books, including Authentic Aromatherapy, and she is also a consultant for many established and startup aromatherapy businesses, advising from copywriting to custom blending product lines. Sharon has served as chief editor for the National Association for Holistic Aromatherapy since 2015. Sharon is currently the Arizona Regional Director and our current Director Coordinator. To learn more about Sharon, you can visit her at sedonaaromatics.com or on our NAHA website on the Board of Directors page. Thank you, Sharon, for sitting down with me. You were around for recording a lot of the other interviews we had with our directors and our president and vice president. And I just kind of wanted to touch base with you now and see how you're dealing with everything. And, last conversation we had was quite a few weeks ago, and things look a lot different. And in some ways, they look exactly the same. And wanted to check in and see how things are going from your end.
Yeah, thank you, Savannah, for having me back here after the other series of interviews that we did. Yeah, life is different, but it's not different. I live in Arizona, which unfortunately has earned the title of the #1 hotspot for COVID-19. Not just in the States, but in the world, I understand at the moment. So that's a little scary. We did open up back in May, but there wasn't really much controlled opening, and I think that's what happened. It all kind of happened too fast. Now we're going backwards with a lot more infections and deaths. So that's a little scary. I don't know how it is where you are, what the situation is with you.
Well, it's definitely kind of in the same boat. We're just, we weren't super worried about everything when it first hit. We live in a small town. We're pretty isolated. We're in Idaho. And since then, it's definitely feels a lot different. And I feel personally different about it. And it's like, the first round you're coming through, you're like, trying, don't overreact, but take it very seriously. And then I even found myself being like, well, it's not as bad, or it's getting better, or like, we should be able to start going out again. I want to support my fellow small businesses. And then I'm kind of, started stepping my foot out the door, and now I'm right back in, just because I'm like, this is way more serious. And it's here. It's like right here. It's on our front steps now. So kind of harder to ignore in that light, and knowing it too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's been difficult for me because I've got compromised immune system. And so, nothing's really changed in that regard with going out, because it scares me too much. Going out is a stressful experience. I think one time when I went out, I had to do something. I just kind of had a panic attack in the car, just the thought of getting out the car and going in the shop and doing what I have to do and coming back out again. And it's difficult. It's difficult, as you say, everything's changed, the way we're thinking and everything. So I've had to pivot a few things with my business because of that. I'm not really in contact with anybody physically, as it were. I've changed a couple of things there. I was doing online workshops. I was doing in-person workshops, which I had to cancel out when this happened. I had a few lined up for April. And had to take a step back and look at things. We're in the process of putting together an online aromatherapy club, which I hope to have live in the autumn here. It's been a bit of a challenge trying to move things online, and things that people might be interested in and can afford to do. But I do think there's more of an interest in aromatherapy now. I don't know if it's because people are at home and have more time on their hands, if it's the health situation they find themselves in. But yeah, I certainly seem to be busier with that. And because of that, as a community thing, I introduced scholarships for my online courses to try and give a helping hand to, like you were saying, to other businesses and other people that can't necessarily afford the full fee at this time. So I've had a few changes myself. Hopefully the positive changes, helping people out with.
Right.
Students are just going crazy with their assignment work and everything. And like we were just saying before the interview started, it's like, trying to find the time to do everything. It is a good problem to have, but you've also got to remember to take care of yourself, which is hard to do when you're at home, because everyone's working online now, so it's there, and trying to find that line between taking the time for yourself and setting aside time for the business. That's hard to do as well.
And you think about how important it is right now that you value your personal time, because like you said, like it can be stressful. Someone in your position who's alone, but also like has to do things outside of the house to take care of themselves, but has this kind of underlying idea that, this would be very bad to contract. And I can't imagine balancing all of that and also trying to adapt everything you do to an online forum. And then, yeah, you got to take a minute and shut off and say, like, this is me time. This is me thinking about my mental health as my physical health. And yeah, I can see the value from that.
Yeah, it's not easy at all. I have family in the UK, and I have a family member who's just been going through cancer treatment as well. So that's kind of been weighing on me. And I think it brings home to you how far away you are from people. I do have a good support system with neighbours around here. So that's valuable. I do have somebody that helps me with the admin for my website. So yeah, she's been helping me a lot as well. But yeah, just finding that time when that time when you're alone is when you kind of start sinking. I find myself more, having, not so much depression, but times when you think, oh, when is this all going to end? When can we get back to things the way they were? But I don't know that we will get back to the way things were. So that's kind of scary as well. How do I adapt to this new world? And just, be able to travel again and see people, and just a simple thing I was talking about with my friend, just a simple thing of going in the store as you used to do, and wander around just to look, not necessarily to buy, just yeah. But now it's like in and out. If you go, it's like, okay, I'm focused on where I'm going. And I haven't really done that. I'm really doing pickup, direct pickup, so I don't have to go in the store. So that's online shopping, and then just driving over and getting the pickup. So I'm not really going anywhere much. My garden, I have to say, my garden is my lifesaver. But maybe it's the reason I'm frustrated at the moment is because it's about 100 degrees here. And it has been for a couple of weeks, and you just can't get out and enjoy it. And that's the frustrating thing. And I think my dog is feeling it too. And we're both kind of stir crazy, have to stay in the AC to keep cool. And yeah, everything's looking a little, kind of saggy in the garden, all burnt. And so yeah, I'm looking forward. Yeah, hot as you would be if you were standing out there all day in 100-degree heat. So yeah, maybe it's when fall comes around, maybe they'll be, back in a more positive frame of mind with that. But I think we're all going through that. It's such a big adjustment that we can't be all happy and on top form all the time. I think everyone's feeling that. We're, as you say, mental health, it's kind of hard. And I guess I throw myself into my work because I love what I do, but it's even hard to push ahead with that sometimes when you don't know what's going to be happening. It's just crazy out there. And yeah, it's hard to find a balance sometimes between that. So yeah.
I would love to hear about just how you developed some ideas for converting what used to be like your garden, your workshop courses for online. And maybe if there's anybody else who's like, I have future courses coming up that I need to figure out how to put online, if you have any tips for them and how to transition.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, for me, I have to tackle the one medium that I like the least, called video, because I think that is the way to connect with people more. And even doing these podcasts, that's just kind of audio, so I don't mind that as much. But to relay the garden, we're going to have to go video. We're going to have to go video and show them things, and even the oils and things. Here in the aromatherapy industry, I mean, we really need to have something like smelly vision to, people can't experience the aromas like they can in an in-person class. That is the one thing you can't translate to online. But, we can do it with the visuals and show them the plants and get the video of different things. I think that's, I've seen a lot of places doing that, introducing the video. I mean, just not necessarily just sitting there and talking about it, but be more interactive and more authentic with your audience, and give them a look behind the scenes as well as to what's going on. Because even though I had in-person classes before, not everybody could afford to do that. So this way you're actually reaching a wider audience, and apart from the aroma thing, you could get them, if you're talking about a particular plant or a particular oil in advance, you could prepare them and say, okay, take a sniff of your bottle now or something. So you're kind of doing it together as best you can. Yeah, it's a learning process, and yeah, it's going to be a while before we get everything, to that stage and have everything. But it's also an exciting process because I get to share this with more people now than I did before. So yeah, I'm gonna have to maybe I'll feature Harry a bit, my dog, in the videos, because he always gets everybody's attention.
I was about to say, dogs always help cut any tension, make anything that seems kind of, you're like, I'm talking to a camera and the dog's around. You're like, it's way less weird when I can be like, and me and Harry are playing in the dirt now or whatever. Yeah. I know that's just like, it's part of the, I guess, like the vulnerability of the situation, I feel like is sometimes reflected in the fact that people are finding way more ways to be, to get personal with people in ways that they hadn't before. I even find myself like, I don't like FaceTime. Like, I know that's so contradictory to like what I'm supposed to be as a young in tech person, but I hate FaceTime. Like I don't know why it is, but like I find myself, I've been FaceTiming my family, and I find myself when I get a FaceTime call, instead of like ignoring it, then just calling them by phone, I will pick it up and I'll be like, well, here goes nothing, just because I know that FaceTime is valuable. And and I think that moving classes online, like there is a vulnerability to filming yourself. And I think that's in some ways like just saying like, I'm open, I'm honest, I'm vulnerable because I'm trying to reach you wherever you are now. And
Yeah, and it's out there as well. If you're in an in-person class, I used to do small classes, so it was quite intimate. Um, and that's between you and the members, the students that were there. But it's out there on the video, it's on there on the internet, and who knows who's looking at it? It's like, like people are going to come around and stalk me or.
Yeah, it is kind of scary. Or you're like, what is other people that you don't know watch you and they get to have their opinions about you or something like
Yeah,
that. There is something about that it does feel like you're almost like standing on stage in your underwear.
yeah,
Like that's how I always coordinate it or correlate those in my head. But
yeah.
I
This is
know that
true.
it's probably necessary for your business going. I know at this point when those workshops are important for networking and just like having people have the opportunity to learn more about you and what you do and get involved. And I'm sure that
Yeah.
it's something that you felt like I have to figure out a way to transition. I can't just put it on pause right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a writer and I like the written word, and I do quite well with that, with my courses. But yeah, I think we've got to take the extra step now, and it's forcing me to do that with video. And so yeah, I'm planning on getting a little area set up, and yeah, and you can pretty much do it yourself and film it, and yeah, I'm not sure that I'm ready for live yet.
That is a
um,
whole new game. That is like, I
yeah,
mean, that's playing like cricket when everybody else is playing kickball. That's
yeah.
it's level up.
It's like, okay, let's go video because at least we can, edit that and,
Yep.
put it out there and put your best foot forward. With live, it's like take me as I am, and
Yeah.
things that go wrong. And I admire people doing that, and I
Yeah.
do like watching people
I
doing it as
do.
well.
Yeah.
But I don't like being on the other side of the camera.
I 100% agree. And I'm like, Sharon, I'm always like, I'm an extrovert. I love being around people. I love talking. But you put a camera in front of my face, like I forget how to put sentences together.
Yeah,
And this is like I can do podcasts. I can stand behind a microphone. And it's funny because I'm very expressive with my hands and my face, and I can find myself even doing that via microphone. But put me in front of a camera, and I am like awkward, and I don't know where to look, and I don't know who I'm talking to. And
yeah.
I feel it.
I've
So
been told it gets easier with time. So, maybe check back in with me this time next year and I'll be like, oh, yeah, it's great. I don't know why I didn't do this before. But no, I'm not really. I like being behind the camera. If people follow me on Instagram, I've got all my beautiful photos on there of the garden, and I enjoy doing that. But yeah, when you've got to turn it around for a selfie, no.
Ooh.
But
Oh
I
man.
know someone who loves having his photo taken. Is Harry. If I take a photograph in flowers, he's like in there with his nose and everything. And oh, look at me, take a photo of me. So maybe I'll have to relay it via my dog. Be a different take on things. But
Oh, that's funny.
yeah, so yeah, video. And as for how to do that, I'm not, haven't really got any tips. All I can say is, I know what I've been told is be yourself. I mean, I don't know how to be anyone other than myself. um, but some people, I suppose, kind of put this image on when they went behind the camera. But I think people are wanting the raw deal now, seeing who you are and connecting with you on that level. What your mission statement is, kind of thing. What are your goals with your business? They want to connect with something real as opposed to a big company that they can't really connect with. I mean,
Mhm.
my big thing is that I may hand off some of my admin tasks and everything, but I still want to connect with my students one-on-one,
Mhm.
for as long as I can. I don't know whether I want to go beyond that because I feel that's important. The reason they're taking the course is because of you, I think.
Mhm.
And so yeah, they expect interaction with you, and not somebody else. But that's just a personal thing for me. So yeah. So
Well, and going forward, you're talking about your garden's beautiful, or at least like that you're spending a ton of time in there. And I know earlier we had talked about how good of a season it had been, and how nice the weather had been, and the garden was coming along. And I know is it kind of like, do you have this sense of what your future holds for your courses this fall? And have you already kind of planned ahead for those? And, what are your thoughts about the future of in-person classes as far as you can see down the line?
well, because of I'm immune compromised, like I said, um, it's hard for me to envision doing in-person classes ever again.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly not this year. I'm not even thinking about next year, but I'm trying not to plan too far ahead. I'm looking at the online stuff, and seeing how that goes. I
Mm-hmm.
may not do in-person classes, except maybe once a year or something. I don't really know. The problem is my business is on my home property. My home property is my business. So I'm bringing people in from, I don't know where they're coming from. They could be flying in from somewhere, and coming on to my property. And while this is still out there, it's like I've got to protect me and my home.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as much as I love doing those one-on-one small classes, I'm not sure yet at this stage whether I'm going to go back to doing that. I've got quite a vision plan for how the online club is going to build on, um, from there, and we'll just see how it goes and see how people react to it. I know some people really will be disappointed if I stop doing the in-person classes, but it wasn't the main part of my business, so I guess I have that luxury of time to see where we end up with this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Certainly at the moment, it's not an option, not the
Right.
way things are in Arizona, and they certainly need to get a handle on all of that.
Right.
And so I don't, certainly not this year.
Mm-hmm.
It was going to happen, and I don't really see, because I plan so far in advance for in-person classes, I can't see it happening next year really. It's going to be difficult, going forward with those. But I think a lot of people are kind of in limbo with that as well. You know, i-
Sure.
we
Yeah.
we don't really know what's going to happen. So we're all getting onto the online stuff, and maybe none of us will ever go out the house again.
Everybody's like, why do we leave our houses to begin with?
Yeah. This is great, I guess I'm lucky I have the garden. Once we
Mm-hmm.
get over this really hot weather, having the
Mm-hmm.
hot weather is a little bit like, people that live in snow states in the winter, and you're kind of stuck indoors. It's kind of the opposite thing, but a similar feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And once we get over that into the fall, I'm sure it'll be, more beautiful, and yeah, kind of, bring my spirits up a bit more, and get back into planning next year's garden as well. And yeah, I want to share that with people. People that are, stuck in apartments throughout this, and can't get out, or they don't have much outdoor space, around them. It can be hard. So yeah, I think we should count our blessings. I shouldn't be, I should be grateful for what I have. A lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
in a lot worse position out there. So if I can help people through what I'm doing, that's my goal.
I'm kind of curious because, in years past, like your garden is so much a part of your business and what you do in your career life. And I'm just
Mhm.
kind of wondering now with this kind of change where you're not going to have people visiting your garden and you're physically there. If that changes your relationship with your garden at all, or if you feel like it's kind of you get this time with it that you're like, it's my private space, it's my actual like home and sanctuary, not just my business at the
Ye-
moment.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, it's kind of like saying it's mine. And Yeah, I've always been one of those people, I suppose people pleasers. I'll do this for somebody else. It just doesn't seem right just doing it just for me, um, kind of thing. But now with this, yeah, it would be a happy medium if I can still share it through videos, and online and stuff, and still incorporate it into my work because it, as you say, it is very much a core element of my business. It has to be done that way. But I've seen other people do it quite successfully. I've watched some other, garden related businesses and herbal businesses. You can still share that, and yeah, then when the video is switched off, it's mine, and then they don't hear me continually shouting at Harry to keep having don't do that, and bring them all your toys when they're here. You got to behave. um, yeah, so there's that stress removed, and it was always hard for me to do a full day workshop because of my fibromyalgia and lupus that I have. It was exhausting the day after for me. So in some elements, it's taking better care of myself in that way, at least for the foreseeable future, because I can film the videos and put them online and write the courses and do it on my own schedule. I don't have to be present and plan ahead for a day that I may not be feeling well, but I still gotta go through this because it's already scheduled with people. I don't know if in the future there's any way we can do that kind of more ad hoc, and open it up, just like pop up pop up garden day or something like that. That might be an option, and not have it so formalized. Yeah, that just kind of came into my head now. So
Write that down real quick.
yeah, pop-up garden club. It could be, it could be a thing of the future. So yeah, there is ideas there. Yeah, and yeah, we just got to kind of brainstorm them together sometimes, to get there. So yeah.
And on a personal note, I know it's probably hard to figure out ways. I guess I just want to know, like, how are you staying connected? Are you finding it hard to kind of try to make sure that you keep your distance and you're making responsible decisions, and then finding the balance between, like, making sure you're not so isolated and that you've got a community of people, and you're able to stay, talking and face to face in other capacities?
Yeah, it's hard, but where I live, it was a good community, a good place to live. Before that, people were kind of connected. So, for example, I've had quite a lot of um, people requesting printed workbooks throughout this.
Hmm.
So they have to be mailed. They have to go to the post office. And my neighbor, for her own reasons, she's got a post office box. She tends to go quite a number of times a week. So she's offered to take those for me. So I'm making that connection, when I've got want to go to the post office, she goes to the post office and takes it for me. So if you're receiving a workbook from me, it's a community effort. So people know, so that I have that connection there. And yeah, because we have kind of good outdoor space, people, she's retired, so she kind of helps me, maybe trim a couple of trees or something, so you can still have that connection but keep your space outside, as well. And before it got hot here, I was like taking Harry for a walk down the road. So that's a good thing. If you have a dog, you can still connect with people outside, but keep your distance. Although Harry has not mastered the art of social distancing yet. He's, he can't understand why he can't be in everyone's face.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
'cause
know. I
he's that kind
know.
of dog. He's a lover. So, but yeah, so that helps. It can be hard. Some days I don't see anybody, but I'm also getting more online deliveries, so I may have a connection with the UPS or the FedEx guy when he comes. So somebody to talk to when they're just really overwhelmed at the moment. So that they're busier than usual, so they can't stand around and
Right,
chat with
right.
you.
Mhm.
But yeah, and even when I pick up groceries, there's still a connection there with people. But yeah, some days it's hard. And it's also hard with the illness I have, because some days I'm in real lot of pain, and that's really when it gets you down. And if you're not
Mhm.
seeing anybody, it can get quite hard. Um, Even with the online connections, you're not having the same interactions. But yeah, you just got to try and keep those connections with somebody, no matter how little they are or how
Mhm.
small they are. I mean, obviously, I'm not going into crowded spaces or anything like that. We're quite remote and rural here anyway. As long as I keep away from main town Sedona, um,
Right.
it's okay.
Are
So
you guys
yeah,
seeing a lot of tourists? I mean, maybe you're not seeing them because you're like, exactly staying away from that area, but I just didn't know if you were,
yeah,
if that's something that area is absolutely beautiful. And I know a ton of
yeah.
people travel all over the world to see it. So I just didn't know if you were still experiencing some of that same kind of.
Yeah, unfortunately, well, for us, yeah, there's been quite a lot of influx of tourists. And yeah, when I've driven through the town, yeah, it's as busy as ever again now, which I think is half the problem, why we're spiking so much. So many people coming in from all over the place and really not social distancing. I mean, yes, we have beautiful trails and walks, and you can get out on there, but I've seen them walking down the main street, and everything kind of in groups. And
Mhm.
yeah, and obviously most people fly in, although some are probably coming up from Phoenix driving, but that's still actually one of the worst areas down there. So yeah, it's not helping us.
Yeah.
Not to be standoffish or anything to anybody else, but people are not staying home, and I guess they're just going crazy. um you
You
know
know, it's and I just so relate to, I see, or I feel like, the tourism is so pivotal to so many people's businesses and livelihood. And
Mhm.
they need that tourism, they depend on it. And then you're weighing it against the health concerns, which, I mean, for just so many people, like, this is very serious. And it's like I can't imagine being put in either of those shoes. I feel like I feel so isolated or insulated because I don't own a small business that needs to stay open and needs tourism. And I don't have any immunocompromises. So I just don't know what it would. I don't know how it feels right now to be in anybody's place where this is life or death for business or for health,
Yeah,
your personal life. And I don't
yeah,
know what to make of that.
yeah. I do feel for the businesses uptown that do rely 100% on tourism. It'll be interesting to see who survives and who decides to call it a day and who
Hmm.
doesn't. Um, I guess that's the ups and downs of business anyway. But on this scale, no, we haven't really seen anything like this. Who would have
Right.
thought that you would have been forced to close down your business? And with the number of tourists we get in a year, those businesses do pretty well, and now
Hmm.
they've gone from down to zero and virtually overnight. So yeah, I can understand why they're still wanting to stay open and everything. Fortunately for me, I'm not working up there or have to
Hmm.
go up there, um, or anything, but it's affecting everybody. I mean, I don't know about you, but I know um, a couple of people that have died from this, or on ventilators through a friend of a friend, not directly, but I'm pretty sure the numbers keep going up, we'll all be in that position. And you think, oh, well, it can't happen to me. But when it gets closer to home like that, it makes you stop and think. It's not really distinguishing between old and young people are dying from this as well.
Right.
And not necessarily immunocompromised, healthy young adults as well. They're still learning a lot about it. So that's the scary thing. I suppose. And I guess that's what gets me down about going out, because I think, when can I actually go out again and feel safe? When can I travel back to see my family in the UK again? I haven't done it a lot recently, but now I've been told I can't go. And you want to go.
Yes.
And unfortunately the US hasn't got this under control, so we're pretty much banned from going anywhere else in the world at the moment as well. And it's going to be a couple of years maybe, at least, before I could get on a plane and do that again. And that kind of brings things home. And just
want to leave anybody with advice for getting through, or just about where they can find you coming in the future if they want to follow what it's like to have Harry in the garden via video?
Harry hasn't got his own website yet, but
soon to come, right?
It's SedonaAromatics.com is where you'll find me. And I tend to, I'm on both Facebook and Instagram. We do have a garden group on Facebook. If you type in Sedona Aromatics School and Garden, you'll find it. I do have all my photos on Instagram as well, on if you're interested in following all the flower photos. But subscribing to our newsletter is probably the best way to stay in touch. And if you click on our website, it'll automatically pop up and ask you if you want to subscribe. And then you'll be the first to know on special deals and everything. And advice for people, I mean, it's difficult to know what to say. I kind of shared some stuff in this podcast that we've been talking about. But just try and I think there's a sense of community come out of this. So just build your own community, and connect with your own community, whether that's online or in person. And that's really what we're trying to do at Sedona Aromatics, take it in a direction to build a community of people with like the same interest and the same outlook in aromatherapy, and going forward with that and see where we end up.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Sharon, for taking some time, and it's been fun chatting with you. It always is. I feel like we could probably turn off the podcast and just keep talking and spend the afternoon this way. But
we could have a cup of herbal tea and happy. But that's another podcast. But thank you for having me here, Sarana. It's been lovely chatting with you too. And I hope people find some value in what I've said.
Yes, thank you. And I'm sure they will. So, and until next time, hopefully we get to do this again. Maybe we'll do a whole series on the other side, and we'll be able to talk about what we learned about aromatherapy and how to handle adversity within your business. And that'll be a fun way to look back. And but I'm glad you spent some more time with me today to kind of tell me about what you're going through. So all right,
thank you.
That's all for this week. I hope you'll join us next time, where we interview our NAHA president, Annette Davis, and the very own interviewer herself and director coordinator, Sharon Falcetto. As always, if you want to learn more about NAHA, please visit www.naha.org or find us on Facebook at Aromatherapy Community or on Instagram at Beyond Aromatics.